All right. Welcome back to Phoenix Inventory Watch. This is where we go over the Phoenix housing inventory in both homes for sale and the rental market every week. And I have some interesting data for you guys this week. Let's get into it. And I will move my little face over there. Let's start with the homes for sale market as we usually do. Homes for sale ticked up again 3.6% since last week. And if you've been following what I've been kind of putting out there, it's definitely going to show on the next slide that it's not from new inventory. It's because inventory is still kind of stacking up because we have less buyer demand than we did a few months ago. The interesting thing about this week, though, that I will mention is that the average list price did go up about $9,000. So sellers seem pretty confident that they're going to get their prices, which is very interesting because what I want to go over is kind of do a deep dive into some live inventory and take a look at some of the different zip codes and cities. So let's talk about the new listings first, though. So this is new listings. So the slide I just showed you was total active inventory, which means all of the inventory, both old and new. And this is just taking a look at the brand new inventory coming to the market. And so it's still really no major increase. It was actually a slight decrease. This is just a hair smaller for October than it was in September. So we still have less sellers come into the market, slightly less, and no major increase in inventory yet as far as brand new listings coming to the market. Now, that number that I just showed you on the prior slide says that we have, about 16,500 homes on the market here, which is technically still very, very low for the Phoenix Metro, considering like the millions and millions of people we have here. That is simply not enough housing for us all. But with buyer demand being so low, it's kind of okay for now. But the minute either one of those tick up, if buyer demand ticks up, then we're going to see like that frenzy again in and multiple offers and things like that. But if inventory ticks up, then we're going to see prices come down and price reductions happening more. And so that's kind of what I wanted to go over and show you guys in the live view and take a look at some live market stats. So before we talk about the sold inventory, well, let's just talk about it while I got it up on the screen. So you can see here, we averaged 1,230 per week for the first 2 weeks in September, and for the first 2 weeks in October, we're averaging 1,023 buyers per week. So we lost another 200 buyers this month in October compared to September, which is very interesting because the average sold price was actually up in October so far compared to where we were in September, which is really interesting. So we still have very, very low inventory, even though buyer demand is down. It just seems like these prices aren't budging. But what I want to show you next is kind of a live view and how you can monitor this market kind of on your own. So I'm going to come over here. I want to take you to phoenixplaces.com. This is, yes, my website. And it's a really easy to use website to help you kind of take a peek at like what are price reductions actually doing in our market right now, because I know I've been talking about like, oh, inventory is up. Like we have been seeing like every week, the inventory kind of stacking because buyers have been exiting the market. And every week I tell you, oh, we lost another 30 buyers, 40 buyers, 200 buyers. But when is that actually going to start affecting our market? So one thing to kind of look at, or what you can look at, is you can come in here and click on search homes, and it'll take you to this view here. And so what you're going to want to do is maybe put in your zip code or your city and take a look at how many listings there are in total versus how many have had price reductions. So one of the ones I like to look at, I like to watch this zip code because it's one of the popular ones where families kind of like to move a lot, but it is kind of on the higher price point. The reason why families like to move to the 85024 zip code is because it's Phoenix address, Phoenix taxes, but it's a Paradise Valley school district. And so it's kind of one of those fringe areas where like families, when they catch wind of it, they like to try and move here so that their kids get that Paradise Valley school education. Now, what I see here is we have 50 listings found. And if we do a ratio and we say like, okay, how many have been price reduced out of the 50? That's 20 listings. That's about 40% of the listings in the zip code have had a price reduction. And so to put that into perspective on where we usually sit here in the Phoenix Metro, it's like, anywhere from like 25 to 30% of our listings are usually a price reduced listing. So that's like the part of our market. It's like 25 to 30% price reductions, like normally. And so the fact that this zip code specifically has a 40% price reduction kind of tells me that the sellers have their kind of, eyes to the sky, pies to the sky, I guess you could say, that they're hoping to get a higher price for their house, even though it's cooled off immensely. Like the people who are trying to sell in this zip code haven't realized that the buyers have kind of left the market in this price point. So that's one area. Let's take a look at a couple more before we go back to the numbers. Let's look at Goodyear. Kind of see what's happening over there. 445 listings in Goodyear total. So that's good news for people looking to move in Goodyear. It looks like there's lots of choices there. And if we look at the price reductions, that's 170 listings. So if we take that number, let's get the percentage. That gives us 38%. So again, very similar to the 85024 zip code, where the whole city of Goodyear is about 38% price reduction. So again, our average is probably 25 to 30% here in Phoenix, and we're looking at 38% in Goodyear. So that's interesting. Let's head over to the East Valley and take a look at what's happening over there. If we let's look at Gilbert. Maybe we'll do some Queen Creek and Santan Valley while we're at it. So this is 155 price reductions. So remember that number. Let's stick that into the handy calculator, and 433 on the market. And that's a 35.7%. So not as high as Goodyear, but still creeping up there. I would imagine things are going to start shifting a little bit faster here in Gilbert, the higher that price reduction ratio gets. Let's look at Santan. We look at Santan Valley. There are 444 listings and 150 price reduced. 444, that puts us at 33.7%. So that one's even lower. So we'll keep an eye on Santan Valley and see if those numbers come up. Sometimes they only want to reduce $10 like this one here, which is interesting. So this is $7,000, $10,000, $2,000. Yeah, Santan Valley is not quite hitting. They don't want to reduce their prices. So interesting. Here's one under 400, 390,000. The other thing you can do is you can sort by price on here too. So if you want to see like, hey, what's the lowest in Santan? Like, what are things looking like? These are the little condos in Magma Ranch. Not condos, but they're like standalone. They're small. Let's see. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom for $350,000. How long has it been since you saw homes under like 400, like anywhere in the valley? So I think we're starting to see some relief coming to the buyers, but we're still seeing like only $5,000, pretty low price reductions. This one's 18. This one's 25,000. 10,000, 15,000, 5,000. A lot of them are still only $5,000. But that's what we're seeing as far as price reductions. So some relief for the buyers out there. If you're looking to sell, come and take a peek at the price reduced and kind of see, like, is your zip code or is your city trending with a high number of price reductions, because that could help you choose your list price kind of moving forward. I would take a look at that if you're thinking about selling. Let's go back to the data. Let's finish off the homes for sale, and then we'll take a look at the rentals too, because there's something that I'm seeing in rentals that will probably make some renters pretty happy. So if we come back, no, where we were, pending inventory. So I think we talked about the closed inventory. We saw 200 less buyers coming to the market. If we look at pending inventory, that's also waning down, another good amount of 60-70 buyers coming down here. And I think what's interesting this week is that we saw the pending price really reduced dramatically compared to week 2 in September, where we were still seeing like 560,000 in pendings. We saw this 524,000 mark. Let's go back into presentation mode so I stop messing this up. That would be great. And so these are the pending listings. And again, I keep saying that this is going to tell our future, right? Of like how many pendings are active buyers putting homes on the under contract this week. So this is how many active buyers were out there that bought a home, put it under contract, and it's going to close in the next 30 to 45 days. So this average price, we're probably going to start seeing this come to fruition the end of November as sold properties. So I'd be interested in seeing what that sold number is. Like right now, it's still kind of high at like 560, 570. So if we could start getting pending prices at 520 now, those closings looks like they're going to start coming down. So super interesting there. Let's go into rentals. So rentals are interesting, to say the least. So I've been seeing some trends in there. So when I take you back to look at that live view on Phoenix Places, we're going to look at rentals too. So right now, new listings coming to the market is also down a little bit compared to where we were last month. We were at 1655 new listings to the market. This month we're at 1538, so that also slowed down. But listing inventory continues to actually increase. So the total active listings that are on the market right now are over 7,000. And that's quite a lot compared to where we were just in July. I think we're at like 4,500. So we've actually gained a lot of inventory just in the past few months. And again, it's not because we're seeing like all of this inventory coming to the market. We're just seeing it start to sit and build up because the renters have like boycotted the market as well, because the prices are just incredibly high. So, and it kind of shows here, right? We kind of saw like in August, the last part of rental demand. This is week ending in August 5th. And you can see ever since then, like rental demand has just been falling like a rock. And it's kind of stabled out here to where we're at about 250 new active renters every single week, like putting new renters under new homes for rent under contract. The one thing to be mindful of is that this number has actually come down quite a bit. It was about 2,400 pending, back in this week ending in August 5th. And now we're down to 2,185, which is my segue to go look at the prices on Phoenix Places. So if we come back over and we look at the website, what we can do is we can come in and click on this more button. Oh, I got to pick a location first. So let's just look at Phoenix as a whole. We click on more, and then we can choose that we want residential lease properties. And then we'll click on view results. So this will show apparently nothing. This will show, who knows why this is not working, residential lease. Oh, there's some kind of weird filter happening here. Okay, so we'll just talk about it. So the one thing that I've been seeing, we'll go back to the main numbers. I'm not sure what weird filter I have on here. It's filtered by lowest. It says all listings. It's really weird. I know. We'll just reset it. Okay, well, we'll just go back to the data set and we'll just kind of talk about it. So the one thing that I'm seeing that's really interesting that I wanted to show you live is the fact that, go back into presentation mode, that the listings, not only are we seeing like price reductions, just like we're seeing in sellers, right, in home sellers, but like landlords are also dropping their prices, and there's a lot of price reduced rental listings right now. But what's more significant about it is the actual amount of the decreases that I'm seeing. And so, I've been talking about, how we did a deep dive into like Invitation Homes and how many homes they own here in the Phoenix Metro. And then there's Progress Residential. There's another one called Tricon, and like there's another one. And so there's all these institutional owners that own all of these rentals here in Phoenix. Well, the one thing that I've been looking at, and let me pull this up because I actually made a note on my phone because I wanted to make sure I talked about it. So if I pull this up, so here's some of the price reduction. So if you are a renter in this market and you think you can't move because it's so unaffordable, listen to the price reductions that I've been seeing. Listed at $1,959, now price reduced to $1,689, so less than $1,700 a month. Like our average rent was $2,400, and so where I'm seeing the biggest drops right now are in the fringe areas. So if you're looking out in the Waze Valley or Way West Valley, that's where it's starting, and that's where it started in the other like great recessions, like the 2008, like when the housing market crashed. When prices came down with homes for sale, that's where we saw it first. So we're starting to see that same thing in rental prices right now. And it's starting in those fringe areas. So like Santa Valley, Queen Creek, like Goodyear, Buckeye, Surprise. Like, so if you're looking for a deal, start looking out there first. I'm also seeing it in Glendale and some of the closer infill cities, but keep an eye on them. So let me tell you a couple more. $2,089 first list price on this rental, now at $1,679. 2020, now at $1,685. 2029, now at $1,709. So we're starting to see the trend where the homes that were listed for $2,000 a month for rent are now between $1,600 and $1,700 a month for a whole house. And so I know that the apartments are going to be competing against these homes where you can get a whole home now for $1,700 for rent, where it's like you could get a 2-bedroom apartment with like a crappy parking, you know what I mean? And things like that. So start taking a look if you're looking to rent, and you're thinking you can't afford it because rents are $2,400. Well, guess what? They're starting to come down. So if you're thinking about renting, take a look there. So that was my big aha for this week, is that like this number is gonna keep coming down. Like our average pending price this week was $2,185. I think we're gonna blow right through this through the next couple of weeks. I think each week we're gonna start seeing this come down and come down and come down, because the rents are actually being decreased by that much. Like you don't even have to negotiate. They're bringing it down, and it's these big, like every time I look at like who's the owner of the house, it's Invitation Homes, it's Progress, it's Tricon, it's all of these big rental companies that are dropping the prices. So take a look there. Sold inventory coming down again, another big decrease in actual inventory. This is week 1. Oh, I didn't update this to week 2. So we'll just ignore this. I think my presentation is done. So if you found this valuable, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, let YouTube know that this was great content for you. And I will see you next week, and we'll talk about it all over again.